Good morning and welcome back to Reading Wikis for You, where we read the wiki articles for you. And today we're going to continue our look at the different factions in the Battletech fictional universe by looking at Clan Ghost Bear. So while I'm reading, go ahead, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you would like to hear next. But otherwise, let's get started. Powerful Clansmen, Clan Ghost Bear is one of the original 20 clans founded by Nicholas Kerensky. Just like their totem animal, the ghost bear found on Strana Mechti, members of this clan are known for their conservative nature and their strong sense of family. Among the strongest of the clans and the most stable, their cautious nature ensures they will never rush into a situation unprepared, but also makes them slow to change, with their unofficial mantra being wait and see. Originally of the Crusader mindset, they were one of the 4 original clans to participate in the clan invasion in 3050. But following the Battle of Tukiad, their philosophy changed towards the Wardens, which they officially announced on the eve of the Great Refusal. Since then, the clan has moved wholesale into the Inner Sphere, where they renamed their realm the Ghost Bear Dominion. History. Quote, "Children of the Bear, hearken to my words. Be always vigilant. Learn for yourselves that which your forebears imparted so easily and freely. Demand of yourselves the foresight of Jorgensen and the courage of Tseng. Through them we are strong. To them a debt is owed, repaid through loyalty undying and character unflinching." Unquote. From the Oath of Acceptance, Clan Ghost Bear. Founding. Clan Ghost Bear founders Hans Ole Jorgensen and Sandra Tseng were elite warriors serving Nicholas Kerensky during the second exodus from the Pentagon worlds to the Kerensky cluster. They were also husband and wife. When Kerensky created the clans, he decided Jorgensen and Tseng were too valuable to assign together to a single clan and would have separated the pair. Rather than be separated or directly refuse orders of the founder, they chose to die together. They traveled into the Antarctic wilderness of the planet Strana Mechti, wandering until their supplies ran out. In a mountain cave, waiting for death, they encountered a ghost bear, a ferocious and, presumed to be solitary predator. Despite their circumstance, they would not go quietly, and roared a defiant challenge at the bear. The bear did not attack, but circled and investigated until the pair, succumbing to cold and hunger, collapsed into unconsciousness. For unknown reasons, the bear did not take them as prey while they slept, but warmed them with its body, and upon waking brought them fresh meat to eat. For 3 days it tended to them this way, until they regained their strength. Upon emerging from their shelter, the couple discovered that it had not been one ghost bear which sheltered and nourished them, but an entire family unit. Inspired, they returned to the founder and argued for the clans to embrace the virtues of family and communal strength as a supplement to that of the individual. Hearing their tale, he granted their request to remain together and assigned them to Clan Ghost Bear. The couple easily bested their 6 opponents when they fought together in their trial of position, allowing them to claim leadership of the clan. With the approval of the founder, Tseng and Jorgensen set about creating the traditions of family and camaraderie that would come to define the Ghost Bear clan. On the anniversary of their journey into the wild, the couple led a hunting party back into the Antarctic, where they happened upon a ghost bear. Announcing himself with a ferocious war cry, Jorgensen engaged and defeated the beast in single combat. Shortly thereafter, a second ghost bear was encountered by the party and slain by Tseng in single combat. According to legend, it was the first one's mate, and so fitting that they both were slain by the same couple. By the time Ilkhan Kerensky announced that each clan would be led by 2 Khans, the warriors of Clan Ghost Bear had become so accustomed to following Tseng and Jorgensen that the pair were voted in unanimously. Operation Klondike. The Ghost Bears were contenders during the trials to determine which clans would invade Eden, but unexpectedly lost their place to Clan Hell's Horses. Clan Ghost Bear was assigned with Clans Star Adder, Steel Viper, and Blood Spirit to the liberation of Arcadia during Operation Klondike. The Ghost Bears, resentful of Star Adder Khan Absalom Trusket's dual role as planner of the entire operation as well as commander of the Arcadia conquest, ignored his plan of attack. The Ghost Bears were assigned to take and hold the landing zone for the 3 other clans. Instead, they landed 2 hours' march from the city of Saega, capital of the nation of Hastur. This left the Star Adders to face an entire regiment alone, which cost them heavily in dropships and ground forces and the life of Khan Truscut. Khan Tseng and her Ghost Bears advanced on Saega slowly and methodically. The city was in 2 tiers. Inner Saega was backed by a sheer cliff, of the Great Iron Wall Mountains and protected by a wall. Outside the wall were slums and quarters for transients. The bears cleared the slums with a combination of loudspeakers and careful weapon strikes, causing the civilians to flee. The Ghost Bear Aerospace Fighter Star, in 2 sorties, destroyed the Haster Combat Air Patrol and then engaged the rest of the Haster air units. The Great Ghost Bears lost 3 of their 5 fighters, but destroyed 8 of Haster's 11. The 2 remaining bear fighters then gave close air support to their ground forces, just reaching the wall to the inner city. The Ghost Bear siege of Saega lasted 10 days. The Ghost Bears rotated forces in and out for rearming and repair, while Haster forces arrived from remote garrisons. Finally, 6 volunteer mech warriors advanced to the wall under heavy covering fire. 5 survived to place heavy breaching charges, but only 3 were able to return to the Ghost Bear lines. The wall was breached in 5 places, and the shockwaves leveled a quarter of the city. 2 hours later, the Haster defenders were finished. For the next 6 weeks, the clan worked to rebuild and integrate Saega while methodically eliminating Haster holdouts to the east. The former Haster elites were forced to rebuild the outer city, home of the peasants, which led to public corporal and capital punishments to crush resistance and dissent. Bringing in more refugees from outer areas and providing free food and medical care, along with punishing the corrupt former leaders, brought the average citizen over to support the Ghost Bears in time. Matters did not go smoothly with the other clans, especially the Star Adders. The Ghost Bears ignored updates sent by the Star Adder Khans, and they also changed their IFF transponders and communications frequencies without sharing the information with the others. The Ghost Bears also accused Star Adders of taking objectives that were rightfully theirs. On the 17th day after landing, 2 Ghost Bear battle mechs were mistakenly identified as belonging to the nation of Haster and destroyed by a Star Adder patrol. Scathing reports were sent to the other Khans on world as well as to the Ilkhan. Colleen Schmidt, Khan of Clan Bloodspirit, was able to mediate a settlement before matters escalated further. Now, grudgingly sharing information with the other clans, the Ghost Bears joined the Star Adders in conquering the continent of Rechlin. Beginning at the city of Garak, the Bears moved east to face the Principality of Brek and the Principality of Xanadai. Both nations were composed of nomadic people. Conquering the settlements was easy, but ruling them was not. So long as Ghost Bear military forces were present, the locals obeyed. Once the threat of immediate force was gone, the administrators appointed by the clan were simply ignored or even banished. Khan Seng and Jorgensen changed strategies. Instead of trying to claim land, they sought out any armed force and eliminated it as a threat. Difficult terrain, earthquakes, sandstorms, and hurricanes made progress slow, but eventually the clan declared victory. Even so, resistance would not end until the nomads were eventually forcibly resettled elsewhere on the world. Wolverine Annihilation. Shortly after the end of Operation Klondike, an event took place which would forever stain the honor of Clan Ghost Bear and lead to a long-standing grudge between them and Clan Wolf. When the not-named clan's actions caused it to be the subject of a trial of annihilation, the Ghost Bears had been especially determined to be given the honor of carrying out the execution, but were greatly disappointed when it went instead to Clan Wolf. While the clan's leadership agreed to abide by this decision, many in the lower ranks were still rankled. As members of the not-named clan scattered to the 4 winds in an attempt to escape justice, a small group of them were spotted by a Ghost Bear patrol on one of the moons in the Arcadia system. However, the patrol's commander, Star Captain Amon, did not raise the alarm and allowed the group to escape. Only on his deathbed did Amon publicly reveal what had transpired, justifying his actions as not being his responsibility. If the honor of destroying the renegades was the Wolf clans, then it was their burden alone to do so. Clan Wolf was enraged when it learned of these facts and immediately launched punitive raids on the Ghost Bears. This lasted for several days until Khan Sang was able to defuse the situation, but the damage was done. Not only would the enmity of Clan Wolf towards Clan Ghost Bear last for generations, many Ghost Bear warriors themselves felt shamed by the actions of Star Captain Amon. Thereafter, every Ghost Bear warrior would take a solemn oath upon being inducted into the warrior case to hunt down any not-named clan members should they become known, regardless of their circumstances. Quote, "And we hold this we hold sacred, that no deed be left undone. The not-named escape the wolf, but they shall not escape the bear again." Unquote. From the Oath of Acceptance, Clan Ghost Bear. The Golden Century. During the Golden Century, Sandra Tsang would die against Jaguar Khan Franklin Osis while protecting her genetic legacy. Khan Hans Ole Jorgensen retired and died 10 years later. Clan Ghost Bear would shape the concept of family inside their clan, deciding to distrust outsiders. However, they would change their attitude to a wait-and-see method. The Ghost Bears worked to develop asteroid mining techniques for metal and minerals. This would make them profitable among the clan homeworlds. The political century. While the idea of returning to the inner sphere, the hidden hope doctrine, had been a part of clan society since its inception, it wasn't until 2980 that this concept began to once again take root in the minds of clan members and form what would become the Warden and Crusader political factions. The political century would start in 2984 as scattered intelligence reports regarding the periphery sparked the imagination of many and began a great debate between those who wished to protect the inner sphere and those who wished to retake it at the head of an invading army. At the time, Clan Ghost Bear was of the Crusader mindset, and its Khan Nadia Winson was at the forefront of the arguments for conquest. Captured as a Sorla from the warden-minded Clan Wolf, Khan Winson was a staunch crusader and, with support for her cause swelling among the clans, called for a vote on the issue in the Grand Council in 3000. Clan Wolf stymied the invasion by instead proposing the Dragoon Compromise, ostensibly serving as a means of gathering intelligence on the state of affairs in the inner sphere. It not only led to the creation of Wolf Dragoons, but ultimately delayed the invasion for 50 years, by which point Khan Winson would not be able to participate in the invasion. The arrival of the Comstar ship Outbound Light in 3048 necessitated an immediate vote to invade the inner sphere, which was again opposed by Clan Wolf. In the resulting trial of refusal, Clan Ghost Bear fought alongside Clan Smoke Jaguar against the Wolves, narrowly defeating them. In the process of that combat, though, both Khan Nornian Seng and Sakhan Ursula Jorgensen were killed by the Wolf Khan Ulrich Kerensky, leaving the Ghost Bears leaderless. In the resulting vote to replace them, the Ghost Bear warriors were inspired by a speech given by Kerensky to the Grand Council, wherein he commented that new situations required new thinking. Ignoring tradition, they elected Khan Boryon and Teresa Delvillar as Khan and Sakhan. The Ghost Bears fought bravely during the ensuing trials to determine which four clans would constitute the initial invasion force, taking their place alongside Clan Wolf, Clan Smoke Jaguar, and Clan Jade Falcon. A basic plan of attack was hammered out in the Grand Kurultai, and the Ghost Bears were assigned a route through the Draconis Combine and Free Rasselhog Republic. In determining how best to prepare themselves to face the enemy, Khan Boryon anticipated facing little enemy resistance and wanted to avoid burdening the homeworlds. The Ghost Bears invasion force therefore carried with them the fewest supplies of any clan. Clan invasion. In the opening moves of the Operation Revival, the first worlds attacked were those along the periphery, lightly held targets protected by weak and disorganized forces. Though the Ghost Bears were able to take these planets easily, such lopsided battles also engendered a false sense of confidence among themselves and an underappreciation of inner sphere forces. When the invasion proper of the inner sphere began, the going quickly became much more difficult. While they were able to win some impressive victories in the first two waves, notably Thule and Jarrett, many more were less than amazing. The Ghost Bears were further hampered by inadequate logistical support, while in several cases the small garrison forces left behind on these worlds were overrun by local rebellions, requiring troops to be shifted back from the front lines to retake them. The result was a Ghost Bear advance which was rapidly falling behind that of the other three clans. With their invasion of the inner sphere foundering, the Ghost Bear Khans were convinced by Ilkhan Showers that the capture of Rasselhog would help revitalize their effort. It would also slow down Clan Wolf's dizzying pace, as the world was close enough to their invasion corridor to be a legitimate and prestigious target. The third wave of the invasion would be focused on capturing the key world of Last Frontier, defended by the First Freeman as a stepping stone. Both Khans led their warriors in battle to victory against the Green Rasselhog troops, but a chance LRM shot mortally wounded Teresa Delvillar, forcing a quorum of blood-named warriors to be gathered to elect a new Sakhan. By a narrow majority of the clan's Oathmaster, Star Captain Aletha Kabrinsky was voted as the new Sakhan, and for her first act, she publicly criticized Khan Boryon's poor strategic skills as incompetent execution of the invasion. Her condemnation was echoed by many of the assembled warriors, and she challenged the Khan for his position, nominating in her place the aerospace pilot Star Colonel Bjorn Jorgensen. By a vote of no confidence, Karl Boryon was stripped of his position, and with unanimous support, Bjorn Jorgensen became the new Khan. Bjorn challenged Jorgensen to a trial of refusal to keep his position, choosing to fight in his mech against Jorgensen, Kyrgyz fighter. But the battle's outcome was never in doubt, and Jorgensen officially became Clan Ghost Bear's new Khan. Khan Jorgensen instituted a number of reforms, most importantly contracting the hated Clan Steel Viper to garrison several of their worlds in order to free up more troops and reorganize the war effort going forwards. This delayed the crucial bid for Rosselhog until 7 July, which took place aboard the Clan Wolf flagship Direwolf. The bidding that followed was intense and well bargained, but when the cut-down dropped below 5 clusters, Jorgensen realized he would lose, and so drove the opposing wolves down to 3 in order to weaken them as much as possible. To the surprise of everyone else, the wolves succeeded in conquering Rosselhog with just 3 clusters, and the help of bondsman Phelan Kell over the course of 15 days. Nevertheless, the clan continued to see success as it moved forward with the 3rd and 4th waves of the invasion, capturing a large number of worlds. Most importantly was a change in policy towards the conquered populace, treating them with more sympathy and presenting a more positive image of the Ghost Bears, though it would take many years for this new attitude to bear fruit. The 4th wave of the invasion would come to a sudden halt with the unexpected death of Ilkhan Showers, and the invaders were forced to return to clan space to elect a new leader. A number of other important changes in both policy and politics were implemented during this period. Clan Ghost Bear's merchant caste were directed to create an unbroken supply chain from the homeworlds to the inner sphere, bringing an end to the materiel shortages which had previously bogged down the invasion and laying the groundwork for future events. As well, the ritual of Zelbringen was to be dispensed with when dealing with any inner sphere military unit, not just Desgra mercenaries, unless they were willing to accept it. More privately, Sakhan Kabrinsky gradually began to shift her views from Crusader to Warden, though for reasons not entirely understood, bringing her into line with Khan Jorgensen's own well-concealed beliefs. This change in political attitude at the top of the Ghost Bear hierarchy had a trickle-down effect on many of the clan's warriors, who began changing their own views as well. The 5th wave of the invasion was a stunning success, culminating in the capture of 18 Inner Sphere worlds, including Al-Shain, the capital world of the Draconis Combine's Al-Shain military district. This vital strategic and industrial center would be turned into the Ghost Bear's headquarters as the 5th wave continued on with no end in sight. Battle of Tukiad. Upon Ilkhan Ulrich Kerensky's announcement of the proxy battle with Comstar on Tukiad, the Ghost Bear Khans were divided in their response to it. Sakhan Kabrinsky holding complete confidence in victory, while Khan Jorgensen disapproved of the entire Bachal for its inclusion of the 15-year truce. Ultimately, however, the Bears took part in the Battle of Tukiad, earning the right to descend in the 5th hour of combat with an official bid of 3 frontline galaxies, Alpha, Beta, and Delta. Assigned the primary and secondary targets of Spanik and Luk, the Twin Cities were defended by the veteran-ranked Comguard 1st Army and supported by the Green 4th Army. Confident in the strength of their troops, the Bear Khans laid out a simple and direct plan, sending their elite Alpha Galaxy to target Spanik, while Beta and Delta focused on Luk. While the 1st Army commanders, Presenter Catherine Lurka, refusal to commit the extremely green 4th Army to the fight, and the Bears' superior skills allowed Alpha to easily take Spanik. The Comguard succeeded in blunting the Bears' assault against Luk, with the Bears' Khans redeploying Beta and Delta to reinforce Spanik. Leaving Beta and Delta to defend their captured primary targets, the Bears' Alpha Galaxy advanced towards Luk. The 4th Army came close to folding until Presenter Luarka commanded the remains of the 1st Army in a strike against the Bears' primary supply depot at Spanik. As she hoped, Luarka's attack forced the Ghost Bears to choose which was more important, the now vital ammunition or continuing the offensive against Luk. Eventually choosing to return to Spanik while Alpha fought off the raid, they suffered such losses in the process that they could not resume the attack on Luk. Able to hold Spanik, but lacking the strength to take Luk, Ilkhan Kerensky declared the Ghost Bear campaign ended with a partial victory. With Presenter Marshal Anastasius Vogt preparing to redeploy additional Comguard troops to face them, the Bears chose to safeguard what they had won and accepted the judgment with minimal complaint. Relocation and the Great Refusal. In the wake of the defeat on Tukiad, and honor-bound to heed the 15-year truce imposed upon them, the Ghost Bear Khans decided to put their efforts into strengthening their vast holdings in the inner sphere. Not only were several ambitious industrial expansion projections begun and the merchant caste under warrior supervision, allowed limited trade with the Inner Sphere, but the occupation of conquered worlds was ended and their local governments put back in power. While these efforts proved fruitful, expansion had stymied by 3054, a result of the months-long delay in travel between the homeworlds and the Inner Sphere. Resentment was also growing between those left behind in the Kerensky cluster, who had to make do with the meager resources, and those living on the bountiful worlds of the Inner Sphere. Thus, Khan Jorgensen proposed a bold plan to move his clan wholesale into the Inner Sphere and, as per clan traditions, put the matter to a vote by the whole warrior caste. The motion passed, and beginning in early 3055, the relocation effort got underway. The impressive scale of the undertaking was overshadowed only by the fact that the Ghost Bears maintained absolute secrecy. Though the relocation was not against any laws or traditions, it would certainly result in the other clans launching predatory attacks and take advantage of the situation, as what happened to Clan Novacat. Only Clan Snowraven, the Bears' perennial allies, were privy to the plan and were instrumental in converting the mothballed Leviathan-class dreadnoughts into arc ships for the migration. It was not until the move was nearly complete, the last Bear arc ship leaving clan space in early 3060, that a formal announcement of the relocation had been made, and by then the reborn 2nd Star League's Task Force Serpent had landed on Huntress. In the great refusal that followed, Khan Jorgensen famously and controversially renounced the Crusader cause, allowing the Ghost Bears and other Warden clans to extricate themselves from the trials. Apart from their enclave on Arcadia, granted to them by Nicholas Kerensky himself, and their traditional outpost on Stranamekti, the Ghost Bear clan succeeded in their relocation to the Inner Sphere occupation zone, which was renamed the Ghost Bear Dominion. What's more, their move was vindicated when, in the wake of the Great Refusal, a motion to abjure the clan was hastily proposed and subsequently defeated. Tensions between former citizens of the FRR and the Ghost Bears were also eased as those living within the Dominion were granted a great deal of freedom, including in how they were ruled, while the Ghost Bears themselves began to embrace the Inner Sphere's way of life. While removed from the events of the FedCom Civil War, the Ghost Bears became embroiled in a conflict with the Draconis Combine, when rogue elements raided their new capital of Alshane. When Clan's Hell's Horses took advantage of the situation to attack their bitter rivals in 3063, the Ghost Bears managed an honorable end to the conflict with the Combine and turned their attention to the Hell's Horses. Such was the quickness and the fury of their counter-assault that not only were all of the Hell's Horses' gains reversed, but they themselves were completely ejected from the Inner Sphere when the Ghost Bear clan conquered all 3 of their worlds. The Ghost Bears would go on to capture Gunsburg and eventually Rosselhog itself from Clan Wolf, the instigators of the Hell's Horses attack. Jihad. The Ghost Bears deployed forces to Tukiad while the world was blockaded by the Word of Blake, forces which arrived on the 11th of July, 3070, and destroyed the Blakist ships in the system. This was followed by shortly by Ragnar Magnusson speaking to the Free Rosselhog Republic government on Orestes on the 21st of August, where Magnusson spoke on behalf of the Ghost Bear Dominion, beginning negotiations for an accord that would represent all Rosselhogian peoples. On 21 December 3074, the clan deployed 3 galaxies to Luthien to fully exterminate all Word of Blake forces. The operation was complete by the end of the month. The clan also wiped out the Word of Blake forces on Pesht during the same time frame. In both instances, the Ghost Bears fought without once offering Zelbringen to any Word unit, and any DCMS forces that attempted to interfere with the Ghost Bear campaigns were destroyed as well. The Ghost Bear forces then abruptly withdrew from both worlds in mid-January 3075, leaving the Combine scrambling to find relief forces to fortify the worlds. The DCMS units that arrived in the wake of the Ghost Bear actions found no sight of any Blakist troop presence. Just as they had intervened on Pesht and Benjamin without any announcement, warning, or discussion, the Ghost Bears soon embroiled themselves in the conflict for the hidden Word of Blake facility known as the Ruins of Gabriel, concealed in the Odessa system of the Lyran Alliance. Having been driven from the system by a coalition of allied forces, the Blakists had recaptured the facility in mid-April 3075 and proceeded to fight the initial counterattack in mid-May by Lyran and Clan Wolf in Exile forces to a standstill. The Ghost Bears jumped to the Odessa system on 21st of May, arriving via Pirate Point, and ordered the Lyran and Wolf in Exile forces to stand down, crippling a Lyran warship that didn't follow their order. The Ghost Bears then attacked the Blakist forces at the Ruins of Gabriel, but were unable to prevent the Blakists from scuttling the facility and escaping. The Ghost Bear forces in the Draconis Combine continued to advance in August 3075, striking at the Word of Blake forces on Alia, Sebalrai, Eltanin, Caus Borealis, and Vega. The 7th Bear Regulars and the 69th Provisional Garrison Cluster were early casualties of this wave of planetary assaults. The Blakist troops on Sebalrai resorted to detonating a large neutron bomb as part of their desperate defense, and the resulting blast wiped out both Ghost Bear units along with the remaining defenders and thousands of civilians. On the 14th of September 3075, a small diplomatic party led by Devlin Stone traveled to Caus Borealis to meet with the Ghost Bears, seeking to enlist the Ghost Bears' assistance in the growing Allied coalition against the Word of Blake. The mission was successful, with the Ghost Bears agreeing to help a week after the first meeting. This was followed on the 6th of October by Ghost Bear forces assaulting the occupied worlds of Acela, Caus Australis, and Caus Media, although the advance on Acela stalled when Blakist pocket warships attacked the Ghost Bear dropships as they were inbound to the planet, destroying half of the Ghost Bear ships. In early November 3075, the Ghost Bears sent a delegation to meet with Clan Snowraven in the Outworlds Alliance in a bid to negotiate for the Snow Ravens to commit to supporting the coalition. By mid-December, these negotiations had been successful and the Ghost Bears were able to assault Acela for a second time, this time with the assistance from Snow Raven support assets. Devlin Stone and a coalition force arrived in the Acela system at roughly the same time and also assaulted the Blakist forces on the planet. While the Ghost Bears battled for control of the primary industrial complexes and planetary spaceport for 2 weeks, while the Blakists employed scorched earth tactics constantly against them. Stone's Lament captured both the HPG compound and Acela's capital city in only a week. The delegation, headed up by Aletha Kabrinsky and sent to negotiate with the Snow Ravens, left the Outworld Alliance on the 16th of February, 3076, escorted by the 2 naval stars of ships the Snow Ravens contributed to the coalition. While the Ghost Bears continued to conduct operations against the Blakist, Clan Diamond Shark initiated a trial with the Ghost Bears on the 7th of May 3076, winning the right to establish a trading enclave on Tukiad. The combined Ghost Bear and Snow Raven forces launched a number of major assaults in July and September 3076, with the first wave in July striking at the protectorate worlds of Diev, Kervil, Ko, Lambrecht, Moor, and Sabik, followed by a second wave in September that expanded the combined clan front against the protectorate by striking at Lyons, Pike Fort, and Scandia. The Ghost Bears chose to respond to a mutiny at home in the Ghost Bear Dominion among certain Rosselhog units by stalling their combat actions against the Word of Blake Protectorate to allow them to return all of the deployed units that were ethnically Rosselhogian commands back to Dominion space to deal with the mutiny. The various units departed for Dominion space on 5th November, and by the end of December the revolt had failed, with the various Free Rosselhog resistance groups in Dominion space going dormant. In early December 3076, a news report entitled A Time of War, produced by the interstellar news company INN, contained opinions from an INN senior analyst named Farouk O'Reilly on the major contributing factors behind the genocidal tactics the Ghost Bears had been using against the Word of Blake. O'Reilly cited the apparent death of Con Bjorn Jorgensen in the terrorist bombing on Ark Royal in 3073, the Blakist attacks on Tukiad and later Radstadt, and most of all, the destruction of almost the entire Tsang Bloodhouse. While the article couldn't confirm the rumors that House Tsang had been destroyed, it led to speculation that only the Ghost Bear lore master Lori Tsang and a handful of blood-named warriors had survived an attempt to eliminate the entire Bloodhouse, and that the damage inflicted on the house had been administered via some sort of gene-tailored bioweapon. The Dominion world of Alshane was rocked by a terrorist bombing on the 31st of December 3078, for which the Motstand terrorist group claimed responsibility. The explosion killed several hundred Rosselhogian and Ghost Bear civilians. Several members of the Unity Council and the former First Prince, Christian Mansdaughter, Ghost Bear paramilitary police pursued the Motstand leadership as a result, killing Albert Gronwald Minami on Stench on the 2nd of January 3079 and nearly capturing Silla Amdal a week later on Tanaka. Wars of Reaving. Clan Ghost Bear would take their final departure from the clan homeworlds and into the Inner Sphere. They were targeted by the home clans due to their tainted status in the Inner Sphere. As a result, their blood chapels would be targeted along with their territories. The bears would gather their final convoy and leave the homeworlds for good. They would be considered abjured with the other clans. Operation Scour. The Ghost Bears took an active part in Operation Scour, the four-pronged invasion of the Word of Blake Protectorate, conducted by the Allied coalition assembled by Devlin Stone. Prominent actions the Ghost Bears were involved in included the campaign to liberate Asta in March 3077, which saw the noted officer Andrew Redburn rescued from captivity after being presumed dead years before on Tukiad, as well as joining with DCMS forces in October to liberate Diron, one of the largest coalition deployments of 3077. Dark Age. In 3103, the Ghost Bear Dominion was renamed the Rosselhog Dominion. It is ruled by the Dominion Council. After Fortress Republic's walls fell and the fortress was invaded, the Bears didn't move. The Vega Protectorate people began to agitate after planets Atria and Co. wanted to join the Republic. To calm the people, the Dominion would attack the Draconis Combine, easily taking the planets Lambrecht and Diev, citing the Vegans' claim for protection. The Dominion didn't make further offensive moves. Ill Clan Era. The dawn of the Ill Clan era deeply affected the Dominion. After the Ill Clan trial, both Ghost Bears Khans traveled to Terra, assisting with Alaric Ward's crowning as First Lord of the Third Star League, and pledging their clan's support to the Ill Clan. However, the massive vote across the 110 systems of the Dominion left the population heavily polarized between two factions, the Joiners and Deniers. Alaric's refusal to accept the Dominion into the Star League became the catalyst of the Dominion Civil War, with heavy casualties between Dominion civilians and warriors. After it had ended and peace was restored, the Dominion began an invasion of the Draconis Combine. Culture. While they had few official ceremonies and customs, the Ghost Bears could be defined by a number of broad traditions which were reinforced through education and the military chain of command. Strength. First among these traditions was a high value placed in the virtue of strength. Mech warriors and even aerospace pilots underwent the same hand-to-hand combat training as elementals, and every year teams from every galaxy competed in a clan decathlon. The winner of these contests earned considerable respect and a seat at the head of the table in the celebratory feast afterwards. This virtue was limited not just to physical strength, but also strength in purpose and character, a factor which has helped the clan survive even with their own self-inflicted wounds. This reverence for strength was perhaps best personified in the clawing ritual, a rite of passage undertaken by only the bravest Ghost Bear warriors. Every year, the highest-ranking unclawed warrior in each cluster traveled to Strana Mechti, where they participated in a month-long period of reflection and purification led by the clan loremaster. Once this period was over, the candidates were grouped by galaxy into hunting parties, given basic provisions including a simple metal spear and hunting dogs, and entered the planet's punishing Antarctic region to kill a ghost bear and bring back its carcass as proof. This ritual, an attempt to relive the experiences of the clan's founders, resulted in less than half of the hunting parties returning from their journey, and fewer still successfully, though usually at least one party would return with a ghost bear. Amid a great ceremony, the ghost bear was skinned, its pelt fashioned into cloaks for the victors, and its flesh roasted and eaten by all so that they may ingest a portion of its essence. While there was no dishonor in failure, those who survived the clawing were destined to rise to the clan's highest echelons. Initially, the ritual demanded a return to Strana Mechti, but after the clan moved to the inner sphere, they introduced the ghost bear to several planets successfully. Family. Another defining aspect of the clan was the concept of family. While the word soon became repugnant to other clans, for the ghost bears it had unique value given their founding by a married couple. Tsang and Jorgensen did their best to impart a sense of camaraderie and fellowship among the first warriors, to make them a true family and create stronger ties beyond that of a normal military unit. While the intensity of these feelings faded over time as the clan grew in size and new practices such as the Iron Womb became normal, the general sense of being part of a family remained. Lifelong friendships were common among the Ghost Bears, and many warriors maintained tight bonds with their trothkin and starmates. This valuing of family is also visible in the political arena. Unlike in other clans, a blood name is not required for participation in the clan council, and all Ghost Bear warriors are allowed to vote. Patience. The Ghost Bears were perhaps the best understood by the phrase, to tread without care is to court disaster. What started as a general tendency to became an overarching philosophy among the clan. One must take measured steps going through life, and partial commitment to a cause is worse than none at all. Nothing was undertaken without due consideration, including the introduction of new technologies and concepts. For example, when faced with a new battle tactic, a decision of whether to adopt it or not would be made only after careful testing and observation, typically while another clan employed it in actual combat. If proven to work, it would then be adopted wholeheartedly by the Ghost Bears. This virtue also expressed itself in another tradition, that of the Great Work. Kilborn Jorgensen, an accomplished sculptor and musician, worked on a life-size sculpture of the Ghost Bear he killed during his clawing throughout his entire life. When asked one day if he was nearly finished, the Khan cryptically replied, "When I am finished, so will the statue be finished." He died in battle later that month, and his sculpture gave rise to the idea of each person creating their own great work to express dedication to a long-term goal or cause. By tradition, every warrior, and many lower-caste members, is expected to begin a great work after they have come of age, whether it be a painting, a musical composition, or some other artistic work, and work on it little by little each day. Sometimes a great work will be a collaborative effort among trothkin, especially for works of great size and complexity. These have extra value as they also emphasize teamwork. The work is performed or displayed at the warrior's funeral ceremony, included in their codex after death, and put on perpetual display near their blood chapel in Svoboda Zemlya on Strana Mekti. Civilian castes. Clan Ghost Bear civilians were well treated, with a way of life comparable to that of civilians of the Inner Sphere. The value of family extends to them as well. Warriors often kept ties to civilian bloodkin, and those who tested out of the warrior caste viewed their new status pragmatically, putting their full energies into their new roles. Military. Through most of their history, the Ghost Bear Tumen was one of the largest of the clans, thanks to easy access of raw materials during the Golden Century, a slow and steady buildup of forces, and, following the disaster at Tukiad, keeping large-scale conflict to a minimum. Due to their wealth, the Ghost Bears were able to build up their Tumen as they saw fit, rather than develop their combat doctrine around what was available, and took a methodical, thorough approach to warfare. A preference for speed and strength means that they not only employed heavier than average battle mechs, but also ones whose powerful weapon arrays could compromise their armor and heat sinks. In particular, the Mad Dog and Executioner were highly favored as heavy-hitting platforms, which featured a variety of ranged weapons, though after Tukiad they tended more towards energy weapons. While the Heavy Viper served as the clan's primary scout, a strong affinity for battle armor meant the Ghost Bears fielded perhaps the largest contingent of elementals of any clan, using the nominally weak but ultra-fast Fire Moth as their primary carrier, and were the only ones with an entire galaxy of these armored troopers. Many of the elemental tactics pioneered by Kilborn Jorgensen, an elemental himself, were used to great effect long after his passing, with only Clan Hell's horses boasting more experience in this area. If the Ghost Bear's Tumen had a flaw in it, it was their aerospace arm, which, while often considered small and second-rate, was still capable of defending their ground forces from aerial assault. Compared to other top-heavy clans, the Ghost Bears maintained an open command structure with greater flexibility. Warriors were expected to innovate and think for themselves while also deferring to their superiors and the overall battle plan. Training was intense and emphasized physical strength and personal combat skills among all warrior types. While failure in an aspiring warrior's trial of position did not result in their downgrading to one of the civilian case, in an attempt to avoid wasting the cadets' early training, they would instead be shifted to another warrior's subcaste based on their aptitude tests where they would hopefully succeed. Only if the cadet failed to earn a position in their new subcaste would they be relegated to a civilian position. The general cultural emphasis on family meant Ghost Bear military units benefited from an unrivaled esprit de corps. Their move from the Pentagon worlds to the Inner Sphere also necessitated the development of a highly advanced logistical system, a factor which has helped them in maintaining their spread-out forces. However, the typical Ghost Bear mindset was not without its flaws. While the bonds of true friendship could inspire great acts of heroism, they could also cause warriors to take unwise risks on behalf of their trothkin and lose sight of the true objective. This can also cause problems when introducing new warriors to an already established team or when attempting to reform a unit out of the surviving fragments of older ones. For this reason, transfers took place at the star or binary level rather than individually. The Ghost Bear's conservative nature also meant that they were less inclined to adopt new weapons and tactics until after a lengthy testing and observation process, so as not to disrupt the rank and file with unproven technology and thinking. Exclusive Ghost Bear blood names. The Ghost Bears are unique for having never adopted the aerospace pilot phenotype for their trueborn warriors. Instead, Ghost Bear pilot bloodlines differ little from mech warrior ones. This decision was made by Ghost Bear scientists who felt that the loss in physical strength and stamina was not a worthy trade-off for the slight advantages of seeing further and thinking quicker. The Ghost Bear viewpoint was seemingly vindicated during Operation Revival when Intersphere pilots proved every bit the equal to their genetically engineered counterpart. Alright, I am not going to read off the list of all of the founding blood names or exclusive blood names post-Operation Revival or the Wars of Reaving, or shared blood names post-Wars of Reaving. Again, there will be a link in the description where you can go and read all of this yourself. All right. There are separate articles for the rulers of the Khans of Clan Ghost Bear, the Sa Khan of Clan Ghost Bear, and the Lore Masters of Clan Ghost Bear. Interclan relations. The family nature of political stance of the Ghost Bear clan has given them few allies and enemies. These relations would continue after their own abjurations from clan space. Clan Snow Raven, ally. The Ghost Bears hold great respect for the Snow Ravens, believing that they would be unstoppable if paired together. Clan Diamond Shark, ally. Clan Diamond Shark has gained the respect of the Ghost Bears after trading resources and being given their worlds in turn after Bear's departure to the Inner Sphere. Clan Hell's Horses, ally. The Ghost Bears gave Clan Hell's Horses the honor of being their true enemy. During the Battle of Tokasha, a Hell's Horses sniper unknowingly killed the Ghost Bears' beloved Khan, Kilborn Jorgensen. Both Horses and Bears warriors stood in silence for a moment, not fully realizing what had happened. But eventually the Ghost Bears fought in full fury to avenge their fallen Khan. The Bear Horses feud ended in the early 3070s when Jake Kabarinsky was captured by Clan Hell's Horses and used as an emissary to make peace with the Ghost Bear clan. Although the clan has few enemies, some of them have garnered the hatred of the Ghost Bears. Clan Wolf, enemy. The Ghost Bears also hold a grudge toward Clan Wolf after being denied a role in hunting down survivors of the not-named clan. The Ghost Bears allowed the survivors to flee out of spite, although this action has haunted them to this day. Clan Steel Viper, enemy. The Ghost Bears hold the Vipers in contempt, given their isolationist nature and insular attitude towards others. Post-Reavings, the Ghost Bears count the remaining invading clans as their only allies, having sworn off all contacts with their homeworld brethren as part of the formation of the Council of Six. Era-specific data, 3062. Ghost Bear demographics, affiliation, Warden. Clan Space Worlds, Arcadia, 25%. Capital, Alshane, in the Inner Sphere. Population in Clan Space, 24,294,000 as of 3060. Population growth rate, 2.1%. Self-sufficiency index, 99%. Leaders, Khan Bjorn Jorgensen, Sa Khan Alitha Kabrinsky, Lore Master Lori Tsang, Scientist General Jorge Agassiz, Merchant Factor Werner, Master Technician Alejandro, Senior Laborer Aaliyah, Military, Clusters 58, Warships 14. All right, and there we have the Ghost Bear clan. If you enjoyed that, please do give the video a like. Drop a comment down below. Let us know what articles you'd like to see and what are your thoughts on Clan Ghost Bear. Is this the faction that you choose? Why did the original appearance of them in FASA come on the covers of Tech Readout 3050 and the Battletech Compendium, even though they weren't one of the primary clans that was featured? I don't know. Let me know. Put it down in the comments, and let's see what your theories are. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.